So using the graph, we're going to answer the following questions here. Estimate where the x interval, or estimate the x interval when h of x is greater than 0. So remember, this means where are your y values above the x-axis. So we can kind of shade in and see. Right now we're below when we start from left to right, and then we get to -3 and we're on it. And then just on the other side of -3, we start going above, all the way over to here when we land back on it at 6. So between -3, parenthesis, because -3 with a bracket would mean we're on it, we want to be above it, all the way over to 6. And again, we don't want to put a bracket on 6 because we want to be above, not on it. On it would mean equals, and we'd be sitting right on the axis, so we're going to use a parenthesis. Then we go below from 6 all the way over to the number 10. So we're going to use the union symbol, which just means or. We start at x equals 10, and again, we don't want to be on 10, we want to get on the other side of it. So if we put a bracket on 10, that would mean we're on the axis. We don't want to be on it, we want to be just to the right of it. So getting close to 10, all the way over to the number 11. And number 11 is definitely above the x-axis. So we're going to put a bracket on that number. The number 10 at x equals 10 is not above, it's on. So that's why we use a parenthesis there. For part B, estimate the x interval where h of x is less than 0. That would be below the x-axis. So if I come back through here, I'm definitely below here. But when I read it off, I go from left to right. I look at my x-axis values. So at -6, I'm definitely below. So I use a bracket on the -6 all the way over to -3. But again, -3 is on the axis. I don't want to be on it, so I'm going to use a parenthesis on -3. And then I'm above all the way till I get to here again, and now I'm below. So I'm below at all these values here. So between this value 6 and this value 10, I'm below. So I'm going to use the union symbol, which just means or, from 6 to 10. Now I don't want to put brackets on these because those are on the axis. I want to be below, so I'm going to use parentheses. For part C, we'll scroll down here a little bit, estimate when h of x equals 0. That's when we're on the x-axis. So I look back at my picture, what values am I on the x-axis? Well, that would be at -3, +6, and +10. Those are my values. That's not an interval, that's just the values of x. So when x equals -3, I lost my value there, +6, and +10. Those are the x values where y equals 0. We got one more down here. Over which interval is the function increasing? Increasing means from left to right, my finger's going to go uphill. All right, so let me erase off some of this stuff here. Got a lot going on this graph. So from left to right, I can already feel that my pen's going downhill when I erase, and then it's going uphill here. So let's see, from left to right, I'm going uphill from here all the way over to here. So again, kind of section it off. We're looking at the x-axis from x equals -6 all the way over to here. And again, you're looking at the x value, x equals 2. We're going uphill. That's where it's increasing. So from our -6, and again, at -6, it's neither increasing or decreasing. It's just a point. So we're going to use a parenthesis here. And then to 2. Or, notice again, your finger goes downhill from 2 all the way over to here at x equals 8. You're looking at the x values. You're not giving me a point. You're not going from point to point. You're looking at the input values only, those x values. So from 2 to 8, you're going downhill. And then from 8 to right here, it stops at 11. Right, you're going uphill. But again, at 11, that's a point. So I don't know if that's increasing or decreasing at that point. So I use a parenthesis on the number 11. So from 8 to 11. Notice on our increasing and decreasing and constant, we're always using parentheses. All right, so at letter E, where is the function decreasing? So again, going from left to right, we were going uphill here, then we were sliding downhill here. But we look at the x value from 2 all the way over to 8. Parentheses on both. State the domain and the range. So domain goes from left to right. Where do you start? That would be at -6, all the way over to, and where you stop, in this case, 11. Domain and range, we have a definite dot starting and stopping, so we will be using a bracket here. You have the number -6 on the graph, and the number 11 is definitely on the graph. So brackets on both of those. That's your domain. Your range goes from bottom to top. So your lowest y value, this is the only time we're going from bottom to top, is when we talk about your range. So the lowest y value isn't here at -2, it's actually here at -3. So -3 is your lowest y value all the way up to what appears to be the number 4 on your y-axis. So your range goes from -3 all the way up to the number 4. And then for letter G, find h of 8. So your input, or your x value, is 8. So we're looking for the point 8, comma, and we're trying to figure out what this is. So we look back at our graph. When x is 8, and we come over here to x is 8, what is the corresponding y value? And that would be -2. So h of 8 is -2. That's our answer. But that's what we were looking for, is what is the y value when x is 8. So for letter H, find all x so that h of x equals 3. So we're saying when y equals 3, think about the point. When the output is 3, what's the x value? So we're looking for a point, something comma 3, and we're looking, that's what we're looking for, is what is that x? So you go back to your graph, and we're looking for something comma 3. So here's 1, the x value is 0, and over here is the other one, where the x value is 4. And there's no other ones that have y values that are 3. So our answers to this one are 0. So 0, 3 was on the graph, and then the other x value was 4, because 4, 3 was also on the graph.